So hi, I'm Patrick Christiano, and I'm here at Bay Street Summer Theater for the opening of My Fair Lady. We're in the green room, and we're speaking with Ricky Kane Larimer, the producer of Cagney, which has been running off Broadway now for 5 months as a hit. She's thrilled with the production we just saw.
Patrick.
But let's talk about My Fair Lady tonight.
Oh,
Wasn't this terrific?
What a wonderful production. I mean, it's just for a small local theater like Bay Street to be able to put on such a grand classic of a show and utilize the space. I mean, the set and the dancing and the singing. I mean, it blew everybody away.
Yeah, we were talking about what Michael Arden was able to do with this big musical. He scaled it down. He's made it accessible now, so it can play in little theaters is what he's done, really, right?
Yeah, it's an incredible production at a small theater, but it works so beautifully. You're never bored for a second, and of course, all the wonderful songs that you're familiar with, the street where you live, and I've grown accustomed to your face, and a little bit of luck, and I mean, I'm getting married in the morning. There's so many wonderful songs.
And the voices, all of the voices are phenomenal.
Kelly Barrett is amazing. I mean, she's just a gem of a talent. You just can't take your eyes off of her. I am so impressed. I'm so proud to be part of this theater, and I mean, I'm just a board member, but I'm having a blast, and I just love Bay Street so much.
Well, Scott Schwartz has kind of reinvigorated Bay Street, don't you think?
Oh, I definitely think it's made such a difference. I mean, this is only his third year as our artistic director, but what a difference 3 years makes. And we only do 3 main stage productions a year, and one of them is a musical, and this one was just, I mean, this just took the cake.
Yeah, I think this may be one of the finest things they've ever done at Bay Street.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I've been coming to Bay Street for probably 10 or 12 years, and I've never seen anything as grand, as impressive as My Fair Lady and this production, which is a scaled-down production, actually, but it has everything that you need in this show.
He's done this with a cast of only 15, and they normally have around 30, and the show normally runs about 3 hours, and he's got it down to 2.5.
They pared it down, but it's everything that you could want in My Fair Lady. It's just, it's very exciting for all of us. We're thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
Well, I'm thrilled to be a part of it, and we're going to get Michael Arden over here and chat with him too.
Oh, good.
So thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on it. Thank you for being a patron on the board and making everything happen like this at Bay Street. And I wish you lots of success with Cagney. It's a terrific production as well. It's got tremendous dancing, a wonderful lead. It's just a dynamite show. I enjoyed every moment of it too.
And come back and see it for the 3rd time.
I will.
Thanks so much, Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm still in the green room at the Bay Street opening of My Fair Lady, and we're sitting with Carol Shelley, a Tony Award winner, a marvelous actress who plays the mother in this production, and she was just dynamite. I want to tell you I'm a big fan of your work, Carol. I just adored what you did in Billy Elliot. Oh, that was just a fabulous.
I love that. I love doing it. I wished it could have gone on forever. It was so rewarding.
Well, you were marvelous, and that's not what you won the Tony Award for. What was it?
The Elephant Man, yes. Long time ago.
But that Billy Elliot was really a special moment, and,
yes,
and you were dynamite.
Thank you very much.
So tell me, how is it working with Michael Arden?
Unbelievably wonderful. His brain is just so exciting, and to fulfill his concept was really a joy, just a joy.
Well, the audience absolutely adored it.
They did.
It's a thrilling experience. I mean, he's taken this this musical, which I think is probably a perfect musical anyway, but I think he's made it accessible to small theaters now, where you don't have to do a big 30 cast. You know, he's made it work in 2.5 hours. It was just wonderful.
Yes, there was a wonderful moment at the very end when the lights went out, and Henry is left alone. And a man in the front row went, "Wow." It was not appropriate, but it was wonderful.
So what else? What else? What are you doing? What else? Anything else now?
No, not at the moment. No, I'm busy doing this.
So what about afterwards? You don't have plans? You're not,
No, I don't have any plans.
well, but you can rest on your laurels a little bit.
My plate will be full, I hope.
Well, thank you for taking a few minutes to come and sit with us. It's been delightful, and I hope you have a wonderful run. And it sounds like we're going to get people coming back to this and seeing it.
Lovely. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Lovely, yes. Thank you, thank you.
All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cowboy.
So we're in the green room with Kelly Barrett, the star of My Fair Lady, Bay Street. She just was wonderful tonight. I want to congratulate you on the success.
Thank you.
You must be feeling dynamite, right?
Yes, it's so relieving and exciting to get it open, to finally open it. Yeah.
And how was it working with Michael?
There are really no words. Michael, he doesn't call himself a director. He calls himself the actor's manager, and that's really what he was. He trusted us. He created a really safe playground sort of environment, and we built the thing together. It's the most collaborative experience I think I've ever had. And I think he's just tremendous, and he just keeps getting better everything he does. He plays to the strengths of his actors, and he listens, and he respects us, and he wants us to bring the character forward. So it's not necessarily his vision all the time, it's our vision, and how do we feed off of one another. So I told him I'd follow him anywhere, and I mean it wholeheartedly.
Well, you're just marvelous. I mean, absolutely wonderful. Your voice is sensational. When we first met at Joe's Pub, when you sang the one song that you
Yeah.
sang, you just gave me chills.
Oh, thank
I mean,
you.
and you did it again tonight. You make a wonderful transition as the character.
I love going from Act 1 to Act 2. The whole, ugly duckling swan situation is my favorite kind of thing to do, because it really, you talk about an arc, there's just no clearer arc than that. So, yeah.
And you're classically trained. You're opera trained. Is that correct?
I'm trained in all styles, actually. I was originally trained as opera from 11 years old. A retired Juilliard teacher taught me opera. But I've studied all styles. I mean, my first big thing in New York was Rock of Ages, singing, 80s rock music. So, and with my husband, we do everything from jazz to pop to rock to classical. So, yeah, I do it all.
Yeah, I actually saw you in Rock of Ages too, and I
my
adored it. No, I mean, I thought Rock of Ages before it transferred was so much better. So
thank you.
I thought they amped it up too much.
I never saw the Broadway production, so.
Well, I loved the production that you were in.
Thank you.
And it was very special to me. And I thought when they moved it, it lost
that's too
it lost some
bad.
of the charm that it had off Broadway. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But so you're to be lauded.
Thank you. Sorry that you felt that way. Like I said, I didn't see it, but I had a really good time off Broadway. We had a lot of fun, and it was a more intimate space, so that's definitely something. That's like Bay Street, actually. I think that's one of the reasons the play here will hopefully be successful, is that the audience really feels a part of this living organism, not from the outside watching. And that's something that we really like. We like the audience to be a part of the play. Yeah.
Well, you're stunning. Who's dressed? What are you wearing?
Thank you. Jill Stewart. I'm wearing Jill Stewart.
Well, you look great.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have you had wonderful audiences all week long too?
Yeah, everybody's been really gracious. Tonight is our best audience by far. The first audience we had was a pay what you can, and they were fabulous too. But yeah, tonight was particularly special.
And how was it working with Paul Alexander Nolan?
Paul and I are dear friends. We became dear friends doing Dr. Zhivago, because he played Pasha and I played Lara. And I just completely fell in love with him as an actor and as a person, and he's just incredible. And so when I found out he was going to be playing Higgins, he actually called me and said, "Guess what? You'll never guess." And then when he told me, I just could not be happier. He's just a joy. We really work well together.
Oh, that's a wonderful story. I saw him in Bright Star. He was just wonderful in Bright Star.
So great in Bright Star. I did the workshop of that a year ago, and it was someone else in the role. And then when I saw it with Paul, I was like, oh, that's I mean, they had changed it a lot, but I really thought that was his role. I mean, he just shined in that show. He was a very, very bright star on that
What do you mean you
stage.
did the workshop?
There was a 4-week workshop a year before the Broadway run that I was a part of.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, what
they're
part
all
did you play?
Closed. I played, oh my God, the role that Hannah Ellis now plays, Margot. Margot was her name.
Okay. Yeah, that was my favorite Broadway show last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see it, and I thought it was tremendous, the work that they did from the previous year, and it came really far. I loved it. I loved the music and everything.
So you two have wonderful chemistry on stage, especially in the second act when
Thank you.
when
Good to
all the
know.
stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, I think it's because we really like each other and we respect each other, and it's just when you're friendly with somebody off stage, I think that translates as great chemistry on stage, hopefully. So yeah, thanks. That's
Yeah, you're going to have a wonderful run. I hope a lot of people continue to come,
Me too,
and I wish
thank
you a
you.
lot of success. And I think Michael's done a tremendous job with
He's
this, and
spectacular.
I mean the way you people have used the space, it's just dynamite. It's just
good.
dynamite.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you liked it.
No,
Thank
no.
you.
You'll be broke and I'll have money. Will I help you? Don't be funny. Just you wait.
So we're still in the
and
green room
read
at Bay Street right after the opening of My Fair Lady, and I'm speaking with Paul Alexander Nolan, who plays Professor Higgins. So tell me how you had a wonderful success tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a great crowd, and it was fun to have that opening night energy out there.
It was terrific. I mean, you guys have wonderful chemistry. I was very impressed.
Oh, thanks. I love working with Kelly. It's nice to work with somebody more than once. Of course, we worked together on Dr. Zhivago last year. My tongue is still tied from doing the British accent right now.
She just told me you worked together, and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
So she informed me, and that's why I guess you have great chemistry in the second act. It really kicks off.
Oh, I'm glad you feel that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love doing these scenes with her. It's really fun. She's playful, and we get to see what happens every night.
Well, you really rule that stage, too. You get all over the place, and you make it your own.
Well, it is my home. I get to lounge in every surface and look in every corner.
Well, you made it your home, too.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you in Bright Star, which I thought was terrific. I mean, you had just wonderful chemistry with Carmen there, the two of you. I mean, it was really something special because you don't get to see that kind of chemistry on a Broadway stage where people really interact like that. That was a terrific show as well. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, surely it was one of the greatest experiences in my career, and I really was sad to see it end so quickly, quicker than we expected, and but that's what happens in New York. It's one of those places that will swallow you up sometimes, even when you have a beautiful piece of art. So. I enjoyed it while it lasted, and now I get to enjoy this, a role that I never expected to get to play, playing Henry Higgins. So it was a delight.
Yeah, and if Bright Star had run longer, you might not have been able to do this.
Well, that's right. As it happened, the actors that was supposed to play the role, Douglas Hodge, had to withdraw fairly late, and I had just closed Bright Star, so. I was thought of, I assume, by Michael, because he's the director and gets to choose. So I was glad that he thought of me. I didn't know Michael before, but I think he must have seen some of my work, and I just got lucky.
I don't think you got lucky. It was kind of, I think you get what you deserve, and I think he probably saw you in Bright Star and thought of you. I mean, you're a little young, but you make it work anyway. How was it working with Michael?
Fantastic. He trusts actors so entirely, and sometimes that's jarring because you say, you kind of think, really, I get to just try anything that I want to try, and it's completely liberating, and of course kind of why we are artists. It's what we do is we create, and so he gives us no holds barred on our creativity.
Well, it was terrific. I think he's made this play, this musical, which I think is one of the most perfect musicals ever written. It was a perfect play beforehand, and the music only enhances it even more. Every song kind of is an accumulation of what comes to the next. It just completes the message as a musical. It's fantastic. But he's made it now accessible to small theaters like this because it was a cast of 30 originally. Now we have 15, and he's pared it down to 2.5 hours as opposed to 3. It could travel now, right?
Sure. I mean, it is definitely a mini version. It's kind of like the version, the Tiny Tanic that they did, where they kind of pared down that musical.
I didn't see that.
Actually, I didn't see it either. I had a friend who did it, but yeah. I mean, it's there's no doubt that it's a very well written musical and arguably one of the best. And so it's fantastic to work on material like that because we often work on musicals that have such thin books that when I read this script, I thought, holy mackerel, it's kind of like doing a play, and that's really fun.
No, it's really like doing a play because it's based on one of the best plays ever written. I mean, it stood alone. As Pygmalion, Shaw's version was a dynamite play. The music only adds to it, I think. I mean, it even makes it stronger because the songs that come out are part of the catharsis that the people, that the actors, the characters are going through, and then they sing them. And you've got this whole build-up that leads up to it before, and it's a classic battle of the sexes. No.
Well. Yes, and what I can say is that what Michael has figured out is how to give it a current ending, because one of my problems with the writing of the musical is the end, because of course it is a feminist message, and we have to empower women, and that's. In the 1950s, the ending was probably designed to be a little easier, tidier, more on the nose and happier. And you'll have to come and see it if you want to know how we've dealt with it and honored the material, but also left it a little bit more, I would say, current and ambiguous.
You took the word right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And what about the choreography?
I don't do any of it, so luckily I'm backstage changing most of the time. I don't have to dance this time.
But you're all over the stage.
I am, yeah.
On all those different levels. I mean, you really make that stage your home.
Well, that's good. That's my job.
Yeah, it's terrific. I wish you a wonderful long run, and maybe you'll get to do it again someplace else, too.
Yeah.
You're terrific, Professor Higgins.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks for taking the time to sit with me.
With
Jamie DeRoy and Catherine Adler, two producers who worked on Bright Star, and they worked with Paul Alexander Nolan, who's the star here of My Fair Lady, and they're here in the green room at Bay Street Theater right after the opening, and they're going to give us their feedback on this wonderful show.
It was
Amazing.
so great.
A phenomenal show.
So great. Michael Arden did a great job of directing. Every cast member was perfect. It was so great to see Paul again because, to see him do something so different was truly exciting.
Yeah, Bright Star was only 2 months ago, and he went from that, boom, here he is. He's Henry Higgins.
I was just talking to him, and we were lamenting that Bright Star closed because it was it was my favorite show of the whole season. Yes, it was. And those two people, him and Carmen, had tremendous chemistry. I adored it. You don't get to see people with chemistry like that often in a musical.
No,
So
Carmen Cusack is wonderful and a great voice, but Paul was just magical. And and this is magical. I mean, it is, well, first of all, it's such a great show.
There's not one moment that lags. You go from one to another, every song. I mean, it really is a perfect show.
we have to thank Michael Arden for that, right?
Yes.
And anyway, Paul.
Lerner Lowe and
No, we all agree it's probably the perfect musical. It's based on a perfect play, and the songs in it only accumulate. I mean, they're a catharsis.
If
Each
only
song.
Henry Higgins could just soften a little sooner. Be a little kinder and gentler. Maybe that might be.
Well, we wish Bay Street all the best with this production.
season this
It's
has
really
been. Phenomenal
a
season.
great show to go out on for the 25th season. My God.
I'm telling everyone to see it.
Yeah, I am too. So thank you guys for coming to
Okay,
talk to me.
thank you.
We're going to chat with Michael Arden, and thank you again. So it's Patrick Christiano in the Green Room at Bay Street Theater right after the opening of My Fair Lady, and we're with the director, Michael Arden. Hey, Michael, congratulations. It was really terrific. Everyone seemed to adore it. Tell us, what was your aim with this musical?
Well, I really wanted to get back to George Bernard Shaw's original play, and sort of I wanted us to have a fresh look at this play in 2016, and it's so exciting to get to tell this story that in a year in which we have our first female presidential nominee is sort of thrilling and an exciting time to get to tell this story and try to look at it as a small chamber piece as opposed to sort of the spectacle musical that we're all so used to knowing when we think of My Fair Lady. So I really wanted to take a look at it as a play and as a story about these two people and how they struggle to define class and a relationship.
Well, I just spoke with your two leads, and they were just singing your praises about how you let the actors do whatever it is they want. And
That's not true.
But no, I know it isn't true.
But I'm glad they think that they can do whatever they want. No, I was blessed to work with some incredible actors and such a fine company that, I felt it was my job as sort of less director, more actor manager in building a world in which they could really play in and have freedom each night to explore and make new choices and keep it alive and fresh for these audiences every night.
And I misquoted. They didn't say they could do whatever they wanted to do. They said you would let them try whatever they wanted to try, and then you would rein them in. Absolutely.
Saying, I was looking at a quote of Shaw's earlier today that something like, if you continue to play, you never grow old. And so I encourage them to play as much as possible and to have as much fun as they can.
Oh, that's fabulous. Now, you were Tony nominated for Spring Awakening, which was a revival of the original that was a Dynamite show, and you did it with the Deaf... what are they?
Deaf West Theater.
The Deaf West Theater, yeah. And it was just terrific. How do you go from that to this?
Well, it's a very, very different show. That was a rock musical written a couple years ago, and this is quite a bit older material. So it was definitely I was definitely a bit scared jumping into it, having never worked on anything from this period. But luckily, it has an incredible score and an incredible script, and we just let that be our guide. And I sort of approached it the same way. I sort of walk into every rehearsal I ever have at the beginning of a process and say, I'm willing to say, I don't know anything. We're going to find this together. And then we find our way through an openness of spirit and continuing to search and question everything. So we found our way to this. And luckily I had a great cast and incredible designers helping me along the way.
The design team is wonderful, what they did with that set in this little space. And you've made use of all of it, every square inch, like.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky to work with a brilliant designer, and costume designer named Dane Laffrey, who was my high school roommate, actually. He did Spring Awakening with me and also this. And I take much of my inspiration from him. And Hal Binkley, who designed the lighting, is a genius. So I was in good company.
Did they have individual mics so you could hear them?
Yeah, they all had individual body mics. It was my initial goal to do it with no microphones, but we found this space a little acoustically difficult given how it was built.
So
but
Well, it is a little acoustically challenging. I've seen things done in it, so that you have to work with it. But it's a tremendous job. You took a musical that normally has about 30 people, and you got it down to 15, and normally runs 3 hours, and you got it down to almost 2.5. Is that right?
That's correct. I did some shaving and some trimming of this piece, and I think originally on Broadway there's something like 60 people in the company.
60.
In the first company, so it's a lot smaller, but it's really a play about two people at the end of the day. So I really wanted to focus on that.
Well, it's based on Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, which, like you said, is a perfect play, and I think the music only enhances it. So it's, to me, I agree, it's a perfect musical as well.
Yeah, I think the musical actually improves upon the play, but I sort of went back to the play a bit more to draw inspiration. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I think that's really smart, because I think that's where it all lays, really. Lies, was it lays or lies?
Lies, I think. I think lies.
Yeah. And the play is a classic. I mean, they work on it in acting classes all the time. It's it isn't done that much anymore, but it's a really perfect play.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, and it's kind of a battle of the sexes, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Shaw was attempting to have a conversation entirely before its time. Yeah, I mean, Shaw was before his time. I mean, he was a vegetarian living in the the 1800s.
Joe was a vegetarian. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. He was. He said he didn't want to have things rotting inside of him. I was actually reading about his vegetarianism today. So interesting. He was an interesting character. He lived to be almost 100.
Oh, wow. I think if you do it right, you live a long time. Now, share with us again that quote that inspired you from Shaw, because I think that's brilliant.
I don't want to mince words, so I better tell you exactly, because I have it right here.
It's terrific, the one about playing.
Yeah, I said, Shaw said, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's the inspiration for your show.
Well, yeah.
But that's what that was the.
I think for how I work with a company, definitely.
Yeah.
I think there's no point in doing something the same way twice when you're rehearsing, because you limit yourself that way.
Well, it translates onto the stage, and at such a young age, and I wish you so much success. It's really terrific to see it. I was looking forward to it. I was kind of disappointed when I heard Douglas Hodge wasn't going to be in it, but then when I heard Paul was going to be in it, because I had seen him in Bright Stars, I don't care. This is going to be, because he knows how to make chemistry, and your leads have wonderful chemistry. Did you have to do anything to get it out of them?
No, they walked in the door with both chemistry and immense talent, so I just got to help build the sandbox for them to jump around in.
Thank you for sitting back here and taking some time. I appreciate it. I wish you a long run. You've made this show, by the way, now where it could move all over the country.
Let's hope.
You realize you've reinvented it so that it could play any place almost.
Well, we'll see. Well, I hope people get to come see it and enjoy it here.
I'm sure they will, and we're going to help them do that too.
Well, thank you so much.
So I'm sitting with Bobby Conte Thornton, who plays Freddie in My Fair Lady, and we're in the green room at Bay Street Theater right after the opening. Let me tell you, Bobby is fantastic. I mean, absolutely. He's got a voice you wouldn't believe. He owns that stage when he sings On the Street Where You Live, which they reprise a couple of times. Tell us, how does it feel like singing that song?
Oh, it's amazing. It's a perfect song, lyrically and melodically, so I feel like it's hard to screw up. You just have to do it justice. And it's amazing to sing it every night.
Well, you more than do it justice.
You're very sweet. Thank you, Patrick.
No, I'm honest. I'm tough to please, too.
I love it, man. It's, I didn't know the show before. I'd seen the movie, but I'd never seen it live, and really I only knew it through that song, because it's the most oversung audition song in the world. And so making it a discovery song and finding it, being in the moment of it every night and finding new things and constantly discovering it is a wonderful thing, versus it just being a kind of park and bark song where the audience is going, ugh, because they know this song so well. Mm-hmm. It's a gift. It's a total gift. The whole show's a gift because it's perfectly written.
I know it's and the play that it comes from is perfectly written, and we've talked about how the music only enhances it, mm-hmm. But you keep going back to the original play to really get to what the heart of it's all about. Yeah. So how was it working with Michael Arden? Everyone.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's just been raving because he's wonderful. He extends a lot of trust to his actors because he's a phenomenal actor in his own right, and so it's kind of overwhelming in the beginning of how much trust he extended to say. We did a week of just table reads where any question we had about a line or about a moment, we just would analyze it and break it down so that when we got up on our feet to explore and discover, it was very natural and simple and easy because we knew where we had to live in the context of the world. And anytime we had questions, we would go back to Pygmalion with the original play. For a while, we had at the end Eliza leaving with me through the door because that's how Pygmalion ends, and now our ending is a little more ambiguous. But he's incredible because he's so kind and generous and is always pushing us to make bold mistakes and never be complacent in finding one answer and then just sticking with it. It's just always, as long as it's evolving and changing and growing and you're looking in another person's eye and finding something in the moment, that's how you know it'll stay alive, and that's how you know you'll be able to reach an audience and change them.
Well, it was a terrific show. The audience clearly loved every moment of it. There's not a dull moment in it. I think your singing of the song is a highlight. I think you've really made it your own. Go have a lot of fun. Thank you for coming back here and chatting for a few minutes. And it was just terrific.
Thank you, Patrick.
Anything else you want to say?
I don't want to leave the Hamptons. it's gonna be a real bummer when I have to go. But thank you for having me.
Are you a New Yorker?
Yeah, I live in Manhattan, up in Harlem. It's too nice here. The beach is across the street from the theater. Do you know that? I can't deal with it. It's so nice.
I've been out here since 1986, but I also have an apartment in the West Village, so yeah, I know it. But I want to tell you, if you were here a long time, you'd get tired of it.
I don't know. Right now, I'm soaking up every minute. Thank you.
No, we'll soak it up and have a great time. I mean, have a great run. It's a terrific show. It's just dynamite, and the audience reaction to it has been phenomenal. We have reaction here that we're going to put out on this video, so I'm sure you're going to have packed houses. You must have had it all week long already, right?
Yeah, the audience, they've been great, very receptive and loving, and they've taught us a lot, which is all you can ask for in preview audiences, because the show is constantly evolved and changed in this week. And so I think we're very happy with the final product and what we have to offer, and knowing that will constantly change and evolve throughout this month.
What did they teach you?
They taught us a lot about, because what we're doing is a very different concept in terms of how you would traditionally see My Fair Lady. It was all about clarity of storytelling, so that if you had never seen My Fair Lady before, you could still understand what's going on, even though we're not telling it in the most conventional way. And I think Michael has been a great champion of that, and I think he's succeeded tenfold in that. That storytelling has never been put on the back burner when it comes to finding a new way of telling the story for the 21st century audience.
It's terrific.
What shall I can do?
Thank you.
You're magnificent.